I would like to begin by getting you to imagine yourself as a type of vessel, like something that holds something. So I think that's somewhat easy for us to understand. We hold ideas, we hold opinions, but and this is biblical as well. Throughout the Bible, humans are referred to as vessels. I won't go into all of these occurrences because that would take too long. But in First Thessalonians 4, 3, verse 3 through 4, Paul says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification. That is, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each of you know how to possess his own vessel in sanctification and honor." For the sake of my example, I would like for you to imagine yourself specifically as a cup. When we drink things, a lot of us like ice in them. Uh, Whether or not you like ice, though, we all know that it takes up space in the cup. Another aspect that might be helpful in imagining this is ice also waters down whatever you're drinking. So not only does it take up space, it eventually starts to dilute the rest of the drink. So as we think about ice, I want us to think about the deeds of the flesh. Galatians 5:19 through 21 says, "Now the deeds of the flesh are evident, which are sexual immorality, impurity, indecent behavior, idolatry, witchcraft, hostility, strife, jealousy, outbursts of anger, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, envy, drunkenness, carousing, and things like these, of which I forewarn you, just as I have forewarned you that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God." If ice were deeds of the flesh, we would want to do our best to avoid it. In contrast, let us imagine our drink as the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22 through 23 says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self control. Against such things there is no law." According to this, I think we should want to rid ourselves of the deeds of the flesh, which in this example would be ice. So we can see, if we compare it to ice, how it corrupts the fruit of the Spirit. The deeds of the flesh corrupt the fruit of the Spirit. So I'd like to some do my best to apply this in a practical way. Uh, Imagine you're in a situation that causes you to become emotionally provoked in some way. I'm going to use an example that I know a little bit about, which is the drive-through at Subway. Um, uh, so some people get very emotional in the drive-through at Subway, and I had an experience recently with that. So I think if it's taking a very long time to get your food in a drive-through, you should take a step that probably would make most of us angry. But even if it really shouldn't, it still probably does. But certain people react to that in different ways. So Galatians tells us that outbursts of anger are a deed of the flesh. So the best thing to do would be to take a step back, cool yourself down, and replace the deed of the flesh with a fruit of the Spirit, such as patience or kindness. It's kind of like that saying, "What would Jesus do?" There's a lot of truth to that. The applications for this are pretty much infinite. We're either acting according to a deed of the flesh or a fruit of the Spirit in any situation, really. So, as such, we shouldn't allow ourselves to get caught up in our emotions, but instead give ourselves time to think and to use the fruit of the Spirit. Now, as I come to the end of this short talk, I'll transition into the invitation. When I read the deeds of the flesh, did you hear yourself in them? Have you allowed sin and carnal pleasures to enslave you? It really is slavery. In the Bible, it's described as slavery. That's why it's called the gospel of free, or the yeah gospel of freedom. It frees us from our enslavement to sin. If so, there is a way out. Jesus said, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me."